Hello, it's Steve from CNS Organics. I thought that I would spend some time to go over some questions that people have had. There's a lot of questions. I can't cover them all. I don't want this video to be too long. One of the things that most people ask me is like, what kind of fish do you have? I primarily have goldfish to kind of get the system going, and then I go with koi. A lot of places that do aquaponics, they will do a meat fish such as a tilapia or catfish, bluegill. I mean, there's a million different options. Any kind of fish you can imagine, you can do it in a aquaponic system. I personally chose the koi. Big part of the reason why is because of the return on the investment. If you look at fingerlings, which are little baby fish, and you buy your tilapia, you know, like $1 or $2 a piece, and in about 9 months, 9 to 10 months, they're about a pound, pound and a half, and you can sell those fish after you process them and everything else. I would say on average about $10 a pound. I really don't know where you're living and what the price is for you to go buy some fillets of tilapia, catfish. They sell that at the stores. I don't know the pricing. I chose koi. They're beautiful fish. It's part of the carp family. So they're very hardy, they're very strong. When temperature changes, here in Texas, if it is 100 degrees outside, they're doing fine. If we have a really harsh winter and it freezes for several days, and there's even because I have a koi pond, like a goldfish pond over by the driveway, and if it freezes over and there's like a whole inch of ice across the top of that, they're still fine. They're very hardy fish. So it's not like you've got to really do a lot with them. You don't have to really take care of the fish so much other than giving them food. And then on the other side, if you decide to sell your fish, your workers in the aquaponic system, the fish are the ones that are doing the work. You give them food, they excrete ammonia, it turns into nitrate and nitrite, and I mean, the fish are your workers. All you got to do is feed them and take care of your pH and your regular stuff. So tilapia is more of a warm weather fish. I say warm weather. It likes the water temperature to be warmer. So in the winter time, if I had tilapia, I'd have to actually heat the fish tank. I'd have to keep that water warm enough for them, or they would die. Catfish, not so much. They're pretty much cold water, hot water. They do what they do. They usually sink down deeper when it's colder. I mean, you could do crappie. You can do any kind of fish. Just look at the temperature range for that fish. Whereas in koi, the temperature range is extremely large. I had went online and looked at some stuff. Most of this is probably not very accurate. I don't know. I don't believe everything on the internet. I'm gonna kind of show you my computer. This is koi fish. Sacramento koi. I think they get most of theirs from Japan. But the price of koi for a 19-inch is $500, a 24-inch $2,400, an 18-inch $550. I mean, they got all kinds of pricing. We go to this guy here. Let's see. Oh, over here on the right, $120 for a 6-inch fish. $100, $100. You know, and we go over to this one here. I mean, you get 4 of them at 6 inches for about $200. You know, the pricing goes pretty crazy. Let's see what this one here is. I'm not for sure on their selling. Maybe they're doing bulk pricing. I'm not really for sure. I wanted to show you guys that, and then I want to go to let's see, let's check out this guy here. And I'm not advertising or anything else for anybody. This is Walmart. And you go down and I'm not sure how much this packet for 2 pounds is. It says it's not available delivery, not available for pickup. But if we go down here to the bottom, I do want you to see this. We scroll down to customer questions. Where is the farm where this tilapia is raised? 0 answers. You don't know for sure where you're getting it from. So you could try tilapia, that's great. Let's see what this is. Tilapia, farm raised. It looks like one of them for $10. I'm not trying to beat anybody up or anything else. This here is a 32 ounce for $11. Now, what I wanted to kind of talk about was, let me set this back in here, is you can do a meat fish and you can sell the meat. You can, 100%, no problem. What you have to worry about is now you're selling a product to somebody that you have to process yourself, or you have to pay somebody to process these fish, these workers in your aquaponics system. You have to be able to pay somebody to do it or do it yourself, which is extra work on you. And you're getting, let's just say after all the everything, you're getting $10 a fish. And I don't think it's that much. I think it's probably close to like $5 after you pay for it or you do it yourself, and your time is valuable. Your time that you do work is valuable. So I would say, let's say it's $5 a fish. Let's go on the high end, and let's say it's $10 a fish that you're able to profit out of your aquaponic system with a meat fish. And there's probably some meat fish out there that I don't even know about that you can make tons of money. I don't know. But let's say koi. People ask me why go with koi? They're beautiful, okay? They're very hardy. It's actually pretty tough to kill them. If your pH ranges up and down, they can change a little bit, and they do pretty good. If you have an influx of too much food, they'll clean it up later. I mean, they're a very hardy fish. And when it comes to selling your fish, your workers, you don't have to. You can let them just keep going and keep going and keep going. Now, With the tilapia, like I told you, about 9-10 months for them to get up to size, for you to get them processed or process them yourself and then sell them. Koi are a little bit slower. So you could sell a koi after about a year. Okay. It's gonna be 10 inches long maybe or so. And you could sell a koi for 30 bucks, 40 bucks, easily. If it's really pretty koi, if it's got a beautiful scale structure and no problems, I mean, it's a beautiful fish, you could probably get 50 bucks for it. If you let it keep being your worker for you and keep growing, well, after a year and a half, it's gonna be up maybe 16 inches, 15, 16 inches. You may be able to get 50 bucks plus. As I showed you online, I was just Googling, just hitting a couple of pages, and you know, it's crazy. And you'll take a loss on the price if you sold to a pet store. But with a pet store, you know that they say, hey, we're wanting this many fish this often, or hey, we're running low on fish, we need some. So they may, you know, for a $60, $70 fish they're gonna sell, they may only give you like 30 or 40 bucks or 50 bucks, or I don't even know. I don't know. I hadn't got there yet. I haven't got there yet. But I personally think that the koi fish is more profitable than a meat fish. If you're doing this to sustain your family, okay, and you want the protein that you're going to not sell but actually eat, I would say probably go with a meat fish. Tilapia, if you're in a warm climate, or if you want to pay the extra electricity to keep the fish tanks warm in the wintertime, you can do a bass or a catfish, or, you know, bluegill or sunfish, or, I mean, you can do any freshwater fish. I haven't really explored too much when it comes to tropical fish. You can do that in an aquaponics system, but you just have to have tons of them, and they reproduce like crazy, and you've really got to manage it, man, and have a place that you can sell those fish. But most of the time with tropical fish, you know, like your normal stuff that does reproduce so often, you're getting cents per fish, you know. I mean, black mollies reproduce like crazy, and swordtails and most of those kind of things just reproduce like crazy, and you're just like, hey, I got all these babies, I can go sell them. Yeah, you're gonna get like 5 cents a piece. I mean, it just pennies. When it comes to the koi and what makes the money, if you're looking at doing that, I think personally the koi is the way to go. Another question that was asked to me is like, you know, well, what kind of waste do you have? I mean, what kind of byproduct? Because most things that are built, there will be some type of waste. Well, we are also doing vermiculture here at CNS Organics. So really and truly, there is zero waste. If you add in the electricity, yes, that's a waste, or what it is that is used to make the electricity for our growing abilities, then yes, that's a waste. The fish tanks, the aquaponics systems, all of it together is very low electricity. And also it's a recirculating system, so we're using anywhere from about 2 to 5% of the water that would normally be used on a water garden. So you go out in the evening, you know, you're ready to water your garden, or you do it in the morning, whatever time, but you go and you water your garden, you get your water hose, you get it all strung out, you turn it on, you water your garden. And you're using however many gallons of water, okay? It's usually a whole lot. I mean, several hundreds of gallons, if not thousands of gallons to water a garden. In aquaponics, you're using very little. There's a lot of water volume in the system, but you only have to add when the water levels get low. So with, you know, precipitation and transpiration, what the plants take up, the amount of water is anywhere from, like I said, about 2-3% all the way up to about 5% of the water that it would take to grow in a regular garden. If you look at people that water their yards, and their beautiful lush yards, and those yards, they have their sprinklers come on, they run so long and everything else. They're running through hundreds of gallons, if not thousands of gallons of water to water their yard, or to water your garden. In aquaponics, you don't have that. You top it off once a week. Water hose may run, or if you have a different system or something, but the water hose is, let's say you put the water hose in there and it runs, it's only gonna run for like 3 or 4 or 5 minutes, and that's it. So the amount of water consumption, you know, that's beneficial. Beneficial to everybody, not just us that like to grow stuff, but the ones that aren't. Some places have certain times of the year where they're restricted on how much water they can use. Or if, for whatever reason, there's a problem with the water supply. I mean, you've got all this extra water that your plants are doing well, and you're still okay. Back to the whole thing about zero waste. We did do vermiculture. Our fish do produce solid waste. That solid waste, and also the extra fish food that they don't consume, is actually, I've got a valve, and I can open it up and I can drain that off to keep the aquaponics system clean. That goes into our worm bins, our vermiculture. Okay, the worm side of it is it's great for them. They love it. I mean, it's like good stuff. They compost it and everything else, and what we get as a result from the worm castings and the worm tea is a very nutrient-rich fertilizer with the worm tea. And the worm castings is like the best potting soil, compost, whatever you want to call it, that you can find. Now, it is marketable. So in the system that we have, you've got the produce that you could, if you wanted to, sell. The fish, if you wanted to, you could sell. The only byproduct, the only waste, is the excess fish food, if there is, and the solids from the fish, the solid fish poop, if you will, that goes to the worm bed. And then the worm castings, if you wanted to sell them instead of using them in a dirt garden, you can sell those. They're very expensive for high quality worm castings, 100% organic, high quality worm castings. You can sell those. What leaches off of this worm process of eating and everything else, I'm not going to go into vermiculture right now. Basically, it leaches off into a dark brown tea, if you will, of worm stuff, worm pea, worm whatever and it leaches through the soil and it drips down into a bucket, and you don't have to do nothing to make it happen. It just does it. You drill you some holes and it just does it. Well, that worm tea is also very profitable. So let's say, well, hey, I ain't got no worms. I don't have no vermiculture. I'm not doing that stuff. Well, the worm solids themselves, okay, all that you had put out into your worm bed, you don't have to. You can actually make a fish fertilizer out of it. The fish fertilizer is basically the water, which is high in nutrition, the worm poop, the fish poop, and basically that there blended up, I know it sounds kind of gross, but blended up is very high in nutrition and a very good fertilizer for anything, whether it's flowering plants, whether it's trees, whether it's your grass, whether it's, you know, you're growing tomatoes over there or something else. So there's zero waste in the system. Those are two of the biggest questions I get, is about what kind of fish and then what kind of waste do I have. Once the system's set up, it basically kind of maintains itself. I don't have to pull weeds. I don't have to go and water my crops. If I get sick for a few days and I can't get out there, okay. Everything's still going and flowing. It's cycling, it's still doing its thing. I do want to mention, when it comes to it, you have to watch how many fish you have and how much plants you have. I've mentioned that in previous videos. That's probably the biggest thing that I've had to do, is either trim back on the plants or add additional fish for stocking distance of how many the density of fish that I have that can provide enough nutrients for the plants. So that's a couple questions. Y'all leave me some more questions. I'd love to answer them, at least with our system. So please like and share. Like I said, this is Steve, CNS Organics. We love you, here from Texas. Take care.